Everybody, get in here, best friends, because I've got two of my friends. We're going to have a conversation today that is going to be controversial for many of you all to watch. It's going to be triggering, and it's going to hold you all to look at yourselves a little closer. We're going to talk about toxicity, but we're not talking about toxicity from guys. We're going to be talking about the toxicity that we bring to the table. When I say we, I'm talking about women, and I'm talking about men who date men, okay? Because we bring some toxicity to the table that sometimes creates the very types of relationships that we like to blame for what is hurting us and what's breaking us. So I brought two folks together so we can talk about that. Of course, click like and click share, because I've got with me Natasha Ray, who you've seen many times before on my platform. She's one of the real sisters you will ever see on camera, in person. What you get on camera with her is what you get in person. There's no difference. And of course, I've got my friend Seth Fury here. And you were quite a controversial figure last time you were on. So this is how we got to today. I did a video with Seth, and it was talking about what men really think. And so we were like dissecting text messages and different things that women had heard from guys. Stuff like, you know, you're the perfect woman, but I'm just not ready to dedicate myself to you right now. And they were saying this confuses me. And so I wanted to get your perspective on it, just because I thought, you know, who better to ask? Yeah. And some of the women really, really didn't like some of your answers. They called you F-boy. I can't say the word, you know. They called you a user, and all of that. And so what I did was I said, okay, Seth, I want you to come back, but I thought that it would be better to have you come back and actually have Natasha be on, because my thought was, when I was watching it, I understood their perspective, although I didn't always agree with everything they were saying. But on the same page, I also felt like one of the issues was that a lot of times women, you know, y'all are getting hurt from men, and it's not always because the guy's a villain. Sometimes it's because you're not listening to what he's saying. And so I wanted to be able to have y'all come together and actually we can talk about, just an open conversation about what are some of the things that women might overlook that get them hurt by men. And again, this doesn't mean that men don't do messed up stuff.
Absolutely.
But it takes two to tango. Yeah. You see where I'm going?
See, that's the thing, the tango.
Yeah.
The tango.
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off.
No, please. That's what you're here for.
So for me, ladies, I just think that a lot of times we're not listening. You know, we're not listening to when the man is telling the truth. You don't want to hear the truth. You want to believe that you're going to change his perspective. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Period. You know, you want to be loved, love yourself. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it starts there. A lot of times as women, we forget to love ourselves, and we're coming out and we're looking for someone to give us this attention and this love, and you put on your makeup and your this and that. You think somebody's supposed to just jump all over you. Jump on yourself first.
Yeah.
And men are going to receive you differently. You know, I listened and I read, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a woman that sometimes play these same kind of games that men play. I'm going to just keep it 100. Mm-hmm. You know, I lie. Sure do. You know, I might not come into a relationship telling you my full. Listen, I'm not putting all my cards on the table. Why? Yeah. I don't know if he's who I want. Mm-hmm. You know, so, you know, we got to also remember that we all come into this with the game at times. You don't want to believe that, especially if you're a woman that's been hurt. When we get hurt, we kind of like hold on to that, and then we walk into relationships looking at you like you're a liar, you're a cheater, you're this, you're that. What if this man isn't any of those things?
I think one of the biggest games that we play in ourselves when it comes to men is the game of I can change him.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
You think you're Coochie Sunshine. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you watch Harlem Nights. But
yes, throw it in the air and turn to sunshine. Della Reese, y'all look it up.
You might not be that girl.
Well, I will say this. One of the things that came up with you, this was the thing that came up like most often. It was a comment that you had made about, so you were dating a young woman, and essentially she helped you come into your kinghood. Yes. She helped you. She was not your come up, but she certainly saw potential in you and pushed you towards your potential. Yeah. And ultimately, she did all this, and then the relationship ended, right? Yeah. And so the overwhelming theme in what people were reading was that, into your situation, was that, damn, you used her. Yeah, and I'm just curious about that.
When you hear the story from that very limited perspective, it can seem as if, you know, I left her because I finally got well and I got better. But that was not the situation at all. I was just speaking from one end, and I don't really like to put out her information too much because I just feel like I wouldn't want to like bash her. But we had reasons that were definitely, reasonable for breaking up. But we did it in a sense where we both were aware of the fact that the relationship had reached its peak. And we wanted to separate now before we got to a point where we like didn't like each other anymore. So I had done a lot for her. I mean, till this day, she'll say I was one of the most impactful boyfriends she's had because while she was building me up, I was building her up. So we were a team. Now, I only spoke from my direction about what she did for me because I was trying to pump her up and really just show homage. But without tooting my own horn, like I absolutely did a lot for her, as far as just building her confidence. And the reason why we broke up is because it got to a point where I felt like my presence was now, so she knew how much I was invested in her being a better person, right? That was like my full objective. Like I was invested in her just being this person I saw. So when it got to a point,
Can I ask, when you say being a better person, what do you mean?
So they were habits that she had.
Okay. So you wanted to change
they were
about
bad.
her.
Change the negative things that we both agreed weren't good for her.
Okay.
Yeah, so it wasn't like me trying to change the way she dressed or change.
Okay.
No, it was things bad habits that are universally not good for anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, we were going to church together. We were, trying to find ways to occupy her mind with more productive things,
Okay.
as far as her just being a better version, music, whatever the case was. But because she knew how much I wanted her to do so much better for herself, it got to a point where she would start to use that old habit as a way to hurt me. So she would start to go back to that old way of the things, the way she would revert because she knew how much it hurt me.
So
and then
people who watch and don't know who she is.
Exactly. Yeah.
You only know who she is. She only knows who she is.
Yeah.
You've been with multiple women in your life.
Yeah.
Okay, so this could be anybody.
Right.
They're not going to connect in with this vague language. This isn't a press.
So the biggest thing was drinking.
Okay.
She's a very, very big drinker, and that hurt me to the core because I was like, man, when you drink, you become an entirely different person. I get to see the good side of you. I get to see the potential side of you, as far as all the things you can do. I'm like, if we could just somehow find a way to minimize this, imagine what you could be. Imagine what we could do. And so I was the only person in her circle that saw that in her. She was around a bunch of friends that encouraged that type of stuff.
So
come on, girl, let's
the
drink.
Truth to her.
I was giving her the real. I'm like, listen, you're surrounded with a bunch of people that will never take you away from this lifestyle. So allow me to come and help you.
Do you think one of the lies that women tell themselves about men, because I know I've done this for myself in dealing with men, is that the right man will accept and embrace all of my brokenness? Is that you took a deep breath on that one?
Because I, as a woman, know that I come with a lot of brokenness. You know what I mean? Being in abusive relationships and things of that such. I'm learning at 43 to walk into relationships today as a new chapter in my life. In the past, I've walked in saying the things that I talked about before, like he's a liar, I don't believe you, you're a cheater, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we want people to accept that, but at the same time, are we willing to accept that from them?
And are you willing to continue working on yourself? Because my thought is like, on one hand, I expect a man to embrace me for the fullness of who I am, my wholeness and my brokenness, because I'm going to do the same thing for him. But one thing that I think where I got it wrong was that I would expect that accepting me meant that I didn't have to change. So I could continue to have trust issues and not work on that. I could continue to have issues around just intimacy and stuff like that resulted from, early on in life with being assaulted, sexually assaulted and all that other stuff. And say, well, you just need to deal with it. You just need to accept me and not thinking, well, also you need to work on you. But I thought that the right man would just accept it and just be all right.
But then we'll never be happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll never be happy because in that moment, it's like, are you going to accept all of those things with him, all his flaws?
No, I think that we set a higher standard for them than we set for ourselves.
That's what I'm saying.
I think that people will live up to their expectations. If you walk into a situation and you expect them to just be that negative person that they were, then that's exactly what they're going to be. But if you actually not demand, but just ask for a little bit better of them and you show them how that could be better, and it's not a way where you're forcing them, you're just encouraging them. You're showing them a different way. And if they respect you and love you enough, they'll be like, okay, you know what? This might be the person that could take me out of this darkness that I've been stuck in for so long. So it's actually like a blessing to have somebody in your life that does that. And so that's what she did for me. Like sometimes you just get stuck. and you're surrounded with so many people that can't see how it's tearing you apart. And then you find that one person that says, okay, you know what? I see you. I see you in ways that you may not think I see you in, and I want to help you get to that place.
But I think that the challenge, why I think for a lot of the viewers who had trouble with the fact that she saw potential in you and helps you to achieve that potential, is because a lot of women out here, and men like myself, have been with guys. We saw what we thought was potential in them, maybe potential that we miscalculated, or potential that he didn't actually see in himself or was willing to walk out. And we invested the same level of energy into them that she invested into you. And ultimately, we were left holding the bag because he either didn't live up to that potential, or he got to that potential and then dropped us. And so I think it's sort of like, it's a fine line, because it's like, one of the lies we tell ourselves that hurts us is that if I see potential in him, I can help him achieve it. And I'm kind of, I think that's almost like winning the lottery to find somebody who you can help become their full potential. I think that for the most part, we're better off finding someone who's already at the level that we want them to be at emotionally and otherwise. Because if you try to do the whole waiting, like what she did with you, and you know, I don't think anyone was wrong in that situation. At this age of my life, I don't think that I would do that with a man.
No, I've already done it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've already built men up before. The only man I'm gonna build is my son at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I've come to realize that you cannot build someone who is not ready to do the work. And it's about the work. And you know, for women, I can only speak for myself. You know, all of us are coming from different hurt, different pain. But for me, I've built a many a men.
Baby,
that I can
I'm
look
Bob the
at now.
Builder. I didn't help men get businesses. I didn't help them get their credit together. I didn't help them out emotionally, got them into therapy, pushed them through therapy. I didn't help men through addictions.
And then they gone.
And then they gone.
And
And I'm left with the trauma.
Those are the things I was doing for her. So I think, I just want to get this clear. I wasn't like some broken man. I was
right.
more so.
I don't think it came off.
No, we didn't get that.
I was more so just motivated by the fact that I had someone I really liked, and I just wanted to do better for her.
Absolutely.
That
And
was
there's
pretty much
nothing
that was
wrong
my
with
biggest
that.
motivation. Yeah. So trust me, if I could have had it my way, I would have loved to have stayed with her. Like I really, really loved her.
What
like,
was the final straw? Why'd you break
The
up?
final straw, like I said, is when I got to a point where I saw that she was using her bad things that were hurting her to hurt me. I said, I no longer
How did
have
she
a
use
plan.
her alcohol that hurt you?
Because she knew how much it hurt me to see
she
her
would drink.
drink. Yeah, so she would drink to hurt me. That was like her vengeance towards me. And I was like,
Passive
okay.
aggressive kind
Yeah,
of.
exactly.
Yeah.
I said, okay, you're now using something that hurts you to hurt me. I now feel like I have to remove myself.
It was
And you have to
toxic.
build on yourself, because me being here is going to encourage that thing that we
Behavior.
worked so hard to get away from. Now, years later, she's stopped, she's sober, and I get to look at her and say, wow, you know, we really went through a crazy thing, but I'm so glad that we had that time together, and we're great friends. And so that's the thing. We had to leave when we left, or else we would have became enemies. You can't stick around in a toxic relationship too long.
That's the thing.
Or you'll forget about all the good things that you guys actually shared, and the only thing you remember is how bad things ended.
Well,
and I
on
didn't
the-
want to get there.
On the subject of toxic relationships, and I'm going to come right over to you. On the subject of toxic relationships, I want you all to comment below this video, and we're going to be real for a second here, okay? Because I think that within truth is transformation.
Absolutely.
Okay? And so what I want y'all to do is comment below on this video right here, right now, and I want you all to let me know, and let's talk about this.
Please.
What is one toxic thing that you know that you have brought or currently do bring to relationships that you are working towards healing, or that you're willing to work towards healing? Here's why I want you to do that, is because what we'll see is that all of us have stuff, and by me reading about your stuff, I may say, ooh, I kind of do the same thing, or oops, oh, I've done that too, and you don't have to feel alone in your stuff. And I think there's healing in recognizing that you're not the only person with brokenness, but I think that there's also transformation in saying, how can we heal together?
Yes.
So comment below with that, but you're about to say something. What are you about to say?
You know, I was dating a guy for a while who would, you know, for me being in abusive relationships, I would hit, you know.
Defending yourself.
I mean, sometimes getting in a new relationship and hit a dude just because.
Oh, you're talking about after the abuse.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
And so I was in a relationship with a guy who told me one time, you know, basically, you are self-sabotaging. You are so beautiful. I love you. I would love for this thing to work out, but that you sabotage everything, the way that you think about me. Like, you think I did this, I might as well go out and do it because you already believe
say
it.
that. I used to, here was my pattern. I would get in a relationship with you, okay? Set this straight, but we're gonna use him as the relationship guy, okay? So I would say, oh, he's so great, he's so wonderful. Me, my Judy, girl, I met this guy, he is so wonderful, he's everything, blah, 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 blah. I'm with you, and I've fallen for you, right? don't let the good be good, okay? And now I'm falling even harder, right? Honey, y'all can relate. So then at a certain point, I go from infatuation to crazy bitch, okay? That's what would happen. And it'd be like, so promise me you're not gonna hurt me. And start real light like that.
Yeah.
Promise me. And we laying in bed, I'm laying in his chest. Promise me you're not gonna hurt me. And he, of course, I say, of course I'm not gonna hurt you. Time goes forward. Maybe we're in the kitchen at the kitchen countertop, and then something he's texting, and it started light. Now I'm looking over the shoulder. I wonder who he's texting. I'm not doing too much.
Just like
Okay, who that? You know, just little stuff.
Sabotage it.
And then it goes, and then I'm eventually to the point where literally, who's this friend? Who's this person? Oh, you dated them? And it would be a progressive process. And before I know it, he's pulling away from me. And I'm like, why is he pulling away from
crazy.
me? Right. And it's like, and I'm thinking, but in my mind, I would internalize like that. I'm like, he's pulling away from me because clearly something's wrong, which would fit into the narrative that I'd already told myself about all men. And then my behavior gets worse, he would get worse, and then it's all broken up. And then I'm sitting there, see, you hurt me like everybody else. No, boo, you brought your toxicity here, and your toxicity turned him off, and then he eventually walked. And I think we have to be honest with ourselves about that, is that when we don't heal, we bring that lack of healing to the table, and it turns guys off. I'm not saying that men are justified in cheating. I'm not saying they're justified in ghosting. I'm not saying they're justified in all these things, but you have to understand that your toxicity can trigger other people as well.
Absolutely. And another thing that I recognize, and ladies, we got to think about this. I had to sit with myself and say, where did the sabotaging of men start?
Ooh.
Because I said, I'm not being in a relationship no more until I figure out, why am I coming into these relationships thinking this about a man who's not showing me any of this? Well, it started with my father. I'll be there, don't show up. You know, all of those habits that I had internalized from the first man in my life who broke me, I needed to go back and think about that.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, women, as your friend, to go back in your life and find out, where did this start? When did you start allowing men to lie to you? And you knew he was lying. When did you allow a man to come get in your bed after he didn't answer your call the last 2 days? When? So are you just allowing him to come in your bed because you just want a man there? Hell
Kiss
no.
the lonely away.
I'd rather be by myself. So we gotta take responsibility for what we do in these relationships. And I think that's where it gets confusing, because we don't wanna believe that we're doing anything wrong. I'm loving him, I'm cooking for him, I'm showing up, I'm showing out, I'm giving him my body, but why? Does he deserve it?
You make such a great point about why are you doing this? Because I have found myself where I was giving so much time, so much energy to, I won't even say bad men, but men who told me, this is what I'm ready for, this is what I'm not ready for. I'm not looking for a relationship, I'm not looking for this. It was exactly, and I wasn't listening because what I was craving was an escape from the pain of my past that I didn't heal. And when he was around, his touch, his words, his presence, it felt good. It was an escape. And so I was using him as almost a drug to help numb me to the unhealed parts of myself. And while doing that, ignoring the fact that this man he was not going to be able to be what I wanted him to be.
Yeah.
What you needed in your healed self. See, you can't recognize any of that when you're not healed. When you're not healed, you just know what makes it feel better. What makes it feel better in that moment. And then you leave. When he leaves, you feel
broken.
Oh my God.
Or craving him to come back.
And it's like, no, honey. No.
You're right.
I think the worst thing about getting into a new relationship when you haven't healed is that you have conditioned yourself to think that negative energy is the norm.
Yep.
So you move into a new person who's not even familiar with that way of being. Like myself, I have never really been in a super toxic relationship that I stayed in. And I think that's really what it was. So I had enough knowingness to know that this isn't for me, I'll leave.
This don't feel right.
But there are some people, guys or girls, that will stay in really negative situations, whether it's abuse, and they stay there. And because they've stayed there, they've started to condition themselves to believe this is how love is shown. This is how
they've normalized.
Yeah, they normalized it. So I would get into relationships with women that had toxic past, and because I wasn't raising my voice, and because I wasn't wanting to put hands on them. They felt like I didn't care about them, like I didn't love them. And it was really frustrating trying to make that connection with them. I'm like, listen, this is how I communicate. Like, I want to actually resolve this situation, so let's talk. I don't need to get in your face and threaten you and put hands and say all these hurtful things just to get a reaction out of you. But then I felt like they would push back towards me to try to evoke that, because they feel like if he doesn't do this, then he doesn't really care
I
about
used to
me.
get turned on by toxicity.
So-
When we would argue, there was a little something I would feel myself. Not that I wanted to argue, but like if I was with somebody and we were going at it, there was a fire, an adrenaline rush in me from, okay.
I think it depends on what level of, I mean, if it's a healthy argument.
No, this was not healthy.
See, that's what I'm saying. If it's and that's where I had the disconnect, because I was like, look, I'm never gonna put my hands on you. I'm never gonna do those things that your ex did that you stayed with that made you feel like this is normal. I'm not gonna be that guy. So if you need that type of reaction out of me to feel like I love you, then you're gonna have to get it somewhere else. And that was tough.
So let me just say, y'all, I'm listening to Seth right now, and I have to be honest. He is a man that actually, not him personally, but a man like him taught me that I was toxic. I was in a relationship with a man who I felt was that guy, that I was gonna be with him for the rest of my life. And I thought that I was giving him everything that I had. And I realized that he just wasn't with the toxic shit that I was bringing to the relationship. And so he was calm. Now don't get me wrong. He did have some bad elements about him. He was a cheater, but that didn't come until later on in the relationship. He would say, everything that you're saying right now, like, I don't know this language. I don't know this yelling, this screaming, this fighting, this.
Would you go off harder when he wouldn't go off?
I would. And he would say, he would stay calm, and he would say, whoever you were in a relationship with before, you need to go back to them.
Oof.
Because I'm not going to put my hands on you. I'm not going to yell at you. And if this is the way that I need to be with you, then me and you are done.
What would you think when he would say that in the moment?
I would come harder.
Me too.
I
used to do that.
would come to his house. I would I was frantic. I was like, oh my God, who are you talking
I
about?
would cry, I would yell,
I would call,
all
I
that.
turned into a crazy woman. And no matter how crazy I got, he still stayed at a level of calmness and really made me go look at myself in the mirror and say, girl, you need to figure yourself out, because this man is not having it. And even to this day, I need to thank him, because he made me look at myself. And ladies, we got to take a look at ourselves, because we may have wanted to beat him up, some of the women in your comments, the comments, but I think that he's coming from truth.
Yeah.
You know, and we got to take the truth. Even though you may not like the truth is what the truth is. We as women sometimes do have to look at ourselves. And I'm not saying that men are always perfect and men do the right things, but you
gotta own what you bring into the table at times. Because I will say this, I have an ex, and he had his stuff. But here's the thing: when you're toxic in your own, you have your own levels of toxicity. I don't think anyone's holistically toxic, but when you have your own levels of unresolved toxicity, you are attracted to, and you tend to attract people with complementary toxicity. All right. So for me, I was very hyper emotional, hypersensitive, and I attracted a man who was the exact opposite, emotionally shut down, emotionally checked out. So it was like yin and yang. And the more checked out he'd be, the more I would jump in even harder. And one of the things that I had to recognize about myself was that I was attracting the very type of man that triggered me even further, right? And not to say it was his fault, but I was attracting this experience just like he was attracting me. And I had to be honest with myself to be able to say, I have broken spaces, broken pieces that need to be healed, and it's not some man's responsibility to heal me, nor is it his responsibility to tolerate me. I don't care how good a man he is, it's not his responsibility to tolerate you. You all both have to be committed to healing, and I didn't want to hear that. So with my ex, I remember we were sitting there on the bed. He's sitting on, like, you know how you have like the little seat at the end of the bed, like getting dressed. So it's sitting there. I'm sitting on the bed, and I'm like, we were having some argument about something. I start crying. Literally, a feather could make me cry back then. Like literally anything, just blow on me. Oh, as I'm crying. Right. And he comes up, puts his hand on my back like this. And I'm thinking he's going to console me like he would normally do. Right. Because that's our pattern. I cry, he consoles me. He finds something to apologize for, even if he really wasn't wrong. He always apologized. And he does like this. And he says, I can't heal you. And I don't know if I can be in this relationship if you're not willing to get your own healing. Woo! Yeah. But you know what I said in that moment? I went off even harder.
Of course you did, because you didn't hear that.
I heard nothing.
You heard, I don't want you.
That's what I heard. I heard rejection.
Yeah.
I heard abandonment.
Absolutely.
I heard betrayal.
Absolutely. That's all you heard. And
Yeah.
that's what you heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is deep, y'all. We are
is.
deep with ourselves.
Well, let's talk about this for a second, because we've taken them there, right? I think that if you are watching, your ears and your heart is open, you are at a place of recognizing that we all have some toxicity, we all have trauma, we all have stuff. Toxic is the buzzword of 2020.
Yes,
But the reality is we all got stuff. Let's not even call it toxicity, it's just stuff. So we've identified that we all got it. Some of y'all have been open and honest and real enough to comment below with some of your stuff. If you haven't yet, feel free to comment below now. Let's talk about what the path looks like to come into healing. You know, because I know we talked about our toxic stuff. I'm sure you got your own stuff too.
Yep.
And so what did that path of healing look like when you decided to start down it? Because everyone's path will be different.
For me, I needed to take a break from relationships. I needed to be alone. And I needed, a lot of people have a problem with being alone. A lot of people don't know how to do that. For me, I knew that I needed to take a break from any relationship with a man. Meaning sex, meaning pretending on the phone, meaning going out.
Just talking, we just talk.
I need to have a break, because just talking is bullcrap. Like, no, I need
You're
a
still
break.
emotionally connected.
I needed to step back. I needed to go have a conversation with my father to heal.
I remember when you did that.
Yeah,
It was
remember
like
I was like,
last
MJ,
year.
I'm gone.
Yeah, I
I'm
remember.
flying back to DC to stay with my dad for 7 days to heal myself. Because I couldn't go in a relationship without talking to this man. Why did you do this? I needed to know from this man why he was so toxic to me as a little girl. And so it made me say, oh, well, nothing's really wrong with me.
It was on him.
It was on, and he took it.
Yeah.
You know, so then I said, dang, so I've been holding on to all this pain of thinking that I wasn't enough for him, which then made me think I wasn't enough for you, and you, which in reality, that was me self-sabotaging everything in my life. So again, for me, it was taking a break and going to talk to my dad, and then realizing that I got my own stuff. You know, I go into a relationship, what's your name, you know, star, you know, this, that, and the other. I'm giving you bullshit off the break, which for me, you know, I also was told by a older woman, you know, when I was dating her son, that men don't come to relationships throwing all their cards out on the table. Men have to realize that you're the one that he wants to tell you, I got a baby on the way, or, you know, I've been in prison, or, you know, I've did whatever. You know, so I had to also go into relationships realizing that each and every one of us are coming with stuff. And we're going to expose our stuff at different times.
Yeah.
You talked about it a little bit in your video, you know, about exposing things at different times.
Yeah.
And so, you know, going into the relationships, being honest, going into the relationships, realizing that everybody's going to have stuff, and not holding anybody. I don't have expectations right now. Meaning that if I'm going into a relationship with you, I'm like, yo, we're going to be friends, and let's be friends first. Let's build a friendship.
The idea of friendship used to scare the hell out of me, because I would hear the people say, take your time, go slow.
You got to.
But what I heard back then was, in my mind, was, well, hold on, if I meet a great guy and I'm just his friend first, I want to lock it down. What if he finds somebody else? It was a sense of scarcity and fear. I now am in that mindset, because healing has let me know that literally you can't have a healthy relationship with somebody that you run into real fast and you don't know. Like you said, we all got stuff, and it takes time to reveal. And I know that when you think back to the people who've broken your heart or broken you even further in whatever that circumstance was, had you known at day one, which you found out at month number 6 or year number 6, you would have taken a different path with them.
Absolutely.
I didn't realize that. And so
But the friendship part, I think as friends, we expose more to each other than
Oh,
we do
absolutely.
when you think somebody has expectations of you.
Because we talk about everything.
Right. But say, I mean, come on, you know me and Malcolm ain't falling in
And
love.
no, we're not falling in love, but my point is the friendship that yeah.
Then it's like, oh, well, I know Malcolm got this about him, and I know he got that about him, but now this is my friend, and now you may turn into my lover, but the friendship, you gotta build that bond first, and I think that's what we don't.
We don't do it.
Don't do that.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So, we all have stuff, right? I don't know what your stuff is. That's up to you.
Yeah.
But what I will ask is this: is in identifying the parts of yourself that kept you from being the kind of man that you deserved to be in a relationship, right? Or just in life, period.
Yeah.
What has your path of healing look like?
So I've been single since my last ex.
How long has that been?
About 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think when I left that relationship, it was really just it wasn't bitter. It was sad, but at the same time, I knew that, you know, moving forward, there were some good things to look forward to in the next relationship. So I wasn't entirely scared to move on, but at the same time, I was a little bit more selective because I know how draining it can be and how scary it can be when you give that much to somebody. So, you know, I really just wanted to take some time for myself, you know, get all my things aligned, work on myself. And I feel like the better position I am when I find the next person, I'll be able to give a lot more to that relationship. So it was really just knowing what it is. I mean, I took a lot of what I didn't want for my next relationship, and that's just kind of formed how I'll be for the next one. That makes sense?
Yeah. That makes
I mean, it's like I said, I haven't found what I'm looking for yet. So, I mean, I still have hope that there's something out there, but, you know.
You're a business owner.
Yeah.
You're attractive, you're smart, obviously well-spoken and everything like that. I would challenge you in this area.
Yeah.
Is just to say that finding what you're looking for, there's tons of greatness out there, women who would love you exactly as you are.
Yeah.
So I would just say, give it a go and see what's out there. Because I think that at the end of the day, from what I've seen in you, I don't know how you could be any more ready.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? I think it's maybe
I'm just,
about taking that leap at some point.
Yeah. You know what it is?
You know?
Maybe it's because I work so much and I don't have enough time to really go out and
You don't make room.
Well, you know what? I because of what I do with work. See, here's the thing. Because I work with so
We do the same thing.
Yeah. I think because I work with so many women, I tend to find that most of the women I come across end up being work relationships because of the fact that
Like me.
that
I work with all men.
Okay, yeah. So it's very tough sometimes trying to pick apart, be like, okay, who can I potentially date, and who's just gonna be one of my clients or one of my
And that's hard.
business relationships. It's very tough compared to just being a regular guy that can go anywhere, meet a girl, represent himself any particular way he wants. I always have to hold a certain standard and professionalism for the most part because of my brand. So with that, it can get a little tough in the dating world because all the
very
women I
tough.
meet,
Are your
they're
clients.
looking at me like, ooh, I want to work with you. And I'm
But
like,
see,
all right,
it's
well,
like clients are off limits for you. Is that the case?
yeah, exactly, yeah. And so when
But if that's all you're exposed to, I was
mostly
over
yeah.
the weekend. I'm just being really honest. Over the weekend, I did an event in Atlanta, and I remember we were, you know, for me, my world is it's like a bubble. It's the same people I'm around, the same people all the time. And this one particular person was around me because of their connection to the work we were doing, and I was like, oh, I was talking to my mother. I was like, Ma, he's cute and he's flirting with me. And my best friend said the same thing. It's like, he's flirting with you. And so my mother's instant response was, you work with him. And I thought about it and I was like, yeah, you're right. But then I said to myself, I said to her too, I said, Ma, I'm only around people I work around.
Yeah.
I'm not going to meet someone at Whole Foods. I don't even go to Whole Foods. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna meet anyone at the gym. I don't go to the gym. Like, I'm in this bubble. And we're all entrepreneurs. I think we all have this in common. Like, your business becomes your world.
Yeah.
So it's like, if the idea, and I know this is a different topic, but still, if I'm trying to open my mind more to the idea that I'm mature enough to meet someone within the domain of my professional space. And it don't have to be where you eat situation. It can be well, maybe if you met each other within the context of your professional space, at least you all know you may have some things in common.
And see, for me, I sit in a different seat with that because as a woman, 95% of my time I'm spending with men who are my clients and in an intimate space where we are we are building a friendship. And then for me, I've, recently someone's like, let's go eat. And I'm like, okay, I'm hungry, let's go. You know what I mean? And I'm looking at him the whole time like, is this something?
Did you realize he was actually on a date?
But it never felt like a date because this is another subject.
Yeah.
Men don't say what they mean and mean what they say. So we're friends, we're going out to eat, and it's like, oh my God, today we're out to eat, tomorrow we're out to eat, next week we're out to eat. Oh my God, we're going to eat all the time. I'm hungry.
This is great. Let's eat.
So then I realized that we're going out to eat, and he's never said, I like you, or let's go date, or is this more, or anything like that. It just turned into, I'm thinking we're eating because we're just friends. Like if you say, let's go out to eat, you never say anything else with that.
Yeah.
And then I can remember us going out to eat one time, and there's other people there, and the conversation gets into all of us talking about dating and things like that. And I'm talking about people I dated.
Yeah.
And then I don't hear from him.
You told people you were dating at that time?
No, I wasn't. I'm just saying, that I'm open and I'm single and I'm
I
this,
get
that,
you.
and the other. And now
You think he got kind of burned by your statement?
yeah, but
Okay.
you never said you were dating. We never. You know what I mean? So it can get really weird, especially when people are not intentional. Like men need to talk. They need to open their mouth and say.
But
hey,
women and men who date men, we have to ask too. Like, is this a date? What are we doing?
So I asked.
You
this
did
is what I
ask.
said.
Okay.
I said, listen, we going out. We hanging around each other a lot.
Yeah. What he say?
I said, I don't want no gray areas. Let's keep this black and white. Laugh out loud.
Go to LOL.
LOL. So then I said, so I'm saying, come on, tell me what we doing.
Yeah.
Laugh out loud again. So what I realized in that communication, he wasn't mature enough
Yeah.
to.
He may dodge a bullet.
Yeah.
Because you're
I
going to
dodged the
operate
bullet.
in a vague, that's what I'm saying, yeah. You're going to operate in a vague, evasive space with him. And I want to do a future video on this about where to meet people and how to go about that process. Actually, comment below if you'd even want a video on that, because I don't want to give you something you wouldn't want.
Yeah.
But where to meet people, so I think that'd be good. But I'll say for me, is that when we talk about the subject of healing, right? Because I love what you talked about, how your process was in terms of healing your toxicity. But both of you all said, really, I will say for me, and I always am a big proponent of this, for me, healing really started, first of all, with owning the fact that I had dysfunction, I had toxicity. And having toxicity did not make me a holistically bad person, did not define me as a person. The mistakes I made in relationships didn't define me, but I did have things that were an encumbrance to me being able to be the type of partner that I desired. Because the reality is that if I met me, I would not have wanted me. Let's just be real. If I met me in my full form, I wouldn't have wanted me. So my path to healing was owning that I was not what I was even looking for. And then B, making a commitment to myself to heal came in doing therapy. That was a big thing for me because I needed a safe space. I couldn't sit and talk to my mother, my best friends, or anything like that about my broken spaces, although you all know about them. In terms of being able to work through them, I needed somebody who could be unbiased, someone who's professionally trained as well to kind of help point me in the right direction around how to deal with them. And I know for some people, you all may say, well, I don't, therapy, I may not have access to because of insurance or whatever. Okay, I get that. But is there somebody in your world that you can connect into who is going to be unbiased?
Absolutely.
Who you can talk to and help you at least facilitate that healing space, I would just say to think about it, because what I was able to do in under a year of therapy, once I started deciding to heal, was able to do healing that 20 years what I wasn't able to do prior. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's 20 years of pain. Really, I got to kind of work through that. And you also, the video, for example, where I went in, if you haven't watched it yet, you can go to YouTube or Facebook or Instagram to watch it, where I confronted the person who raped me when I was 14. I confronted him live on camera last year. And it was healing because I had done so much therapy to be able to get to the point where I could say, now I can, after I healed, then I went to the person, one of the people who broke me, like Natasha was saying she did with her dad, and her dad, that's not her situation, her dad, but I'm saying in terms of just going to the person who broke her.
Right.
And I was able to talk to him. So funny, when I talked to him, the most empowering part of the conversation was when he said, I was messed up. This is something wrong with me. You didn't deserve that. This is not your fault. I need you to hear that. Because I kept on saying, okay, all right. He says, no, I need you to hear me. This was not your fault. And I got so tearful in that moment because I realized what you realized. I was taking so much hurt to so many men over and over and over and over and over again for something that wasn't even mine in the first place.
Because hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let me ask you all both this. How do they follow you?
You can follow me at Star Manicurist or at Noir Grooming.
So I'm gonna tell you this, okay? Natasha takes care of my nails, all right? Whenever you see my hands up close and you're like, oh, your nails look beautiful, it's because of her. And she's got so many great things going on, so go to her page. She focuses on men, but she also does have products that anybody can use, and so that way you can have the Noir experience no matter where you are, even if you can't get to Beverly Hills to see her. But where can folks find you?
So for me, Instagram, Hands of Fury. You gotta put the lip.
It'll be on.
Okay, yeah. So I'm also starting a new podcast as well, which is gonna be Fury Talks. It's gonna be coming really soon. So
I'll be on interview with you this
coming
week.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Don't forget now. So if you want more of this type of talk, Fury Talks. If you want to see what I do otherwise, Hands of Fury.
He's one of the best massage therapists
Thank you, brother.
out there. Like literally, I remember, I didn't tell you this. I'm gonna close out.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you had a video that had gone viral. He's a lot of viral videos.
Yeah.
This viral video, one of my friends he was in Australia, and my friend said, call him.
Okay.
And I said, call him for what? Because I thought it was like sketch. I didn't know that you I didn't know that was your real job.
Got you.
And so he said, call him. So I reached out to you that day and booked you. You remember you came just in a couple hours.
Yeah.
He comes in. He was so dynamic. The best part is, most massage therapists play like that kind of just. It's like, I don't know, like that mood music. He had like Johnny Gill, Anita Baker play. Yes, you did. You had good stuff. I don't know, Anita Baker, whatever. So it felt just so good.
I like to make it customized.
It was
Personal to what you like.
absolutely
That's
amazing.
Yeah.
So if you are in the LA area or you want to fly a brother out, I'm sure he would love that.
Absolutely.
But thank you both for being on and having this honest conversation. And thank you for coming back. Because I was so afraid that after the way some of the women pounced on you, that would be something that would burn you. But you really came back and you were able to open the door for a broader conversation around how we can be good to ourselves so that we can set a standard for how other people can be good to us. So thanks for watching. Click like and share. And if you've not followed my channel, make sure you do so, because I'm here to help you live your best life romantically, emotionally, sexually, in every single way, shape, or form. I'm MJ Harris, y'all. Mwah. All right, so what I want to do, just keep it rolling just for a second. Let's just kind of get like a thumbnail or whatever. So we'll do this. All right, so we're going to smile at the camera and move around. Feel free to pose. Just move slowly. That way we can take a screen capture.
Gotcha.
Okay, I think we got it.